Welcome, Brad, to our second VideoCast.
Hey!
The new age! The new age is upon us. We graduated from just mouths that speak to full faces.
Well, apparently I'm not supposed to hide. I've even got my, don't have my Brad name up on the screen. The way it goes to the pseudonym, huh?
Well, and it seems now we've got more names because your latest article says that we're the Hardy Boys, we're Brad and Ryan, and we're also Doug and Mark. Like, what a tangled mess this is.
Doug and Mark Hardy or Brian and
Yeah.
this is scary.
What's in a name? What's in a name?
Good point.
It's just a label, right? Words are just labels.
I've been labeled.
More than once. Hey, but let's talk about what the Hardy Boys have learned. So you spend a lot of time in this article talking about, well, you introduced the original concept, and the original concept is to tap into that expansive imagination zone that Albert Einstein talked about. And you're basically saying integration of the mind, the book Integration of the Mind, that's what it's about. Is that correct?
Yeah. The way you framed the question took me back a bit.
Okay.
What the book is about has to do with the fact that, and I think I introduced the concept out of a reaction to what a lot of people say about the other than conscious parts of our minds, that, the conscious mind, I say, conscious part of the mind of my old saw, the body bags we occupy, should be in a minor role. Reason being that all the rest of the other than conscious parts of the mind collectively are far more powerful. They're the things that keep us breathing, keep our heart beating, keep our blood pressure in tow, and so forth. And the point we've been making in the You Without Limits workshops is that the conscious part of our mind, which only comprises 6 to 10%, depending on who and what you are, can interfere greatly with the processes that the other than conscious parts of our mind can do automatically.
Can you give me an example of that?
Well, yeah, we worry with our conscious mind, and worrying creates stress, which can do all kinds of harm to our bodies. And of course, my contention is that neurobiologists are saying that from the top of my head all the way down to the bottom of my feet, every cell, billions of cells in our body, make up the nervous system and are therefore the mind. Now, that's not a universally held concept, I understand, but if you go online and do a little research on neurobiology, that is the study of the whole mind, which the brain, which, it mapped and so forth, is just a part of that whole mind. It's an important part, but it's more like a
switching station.
Switching station, that's a good word. Or a microprocessor or whatever. It's not the major part of what's going on. It processes, so it's important. But the problem is that with the conscious part of the mind, wherever it is, and presumably it's in the brain, can do all kinds of horrible damage. Example that I just gave a second ago is worry, but we plan with the conscious part of our mind. We make strategies, and pretty stupid strategies at times. You know?
At times.
I gave an example in the book that about driving a big rig between the Bay Area, San Francisco area, actually the other side of Oakland, down to Southern California, using the Highway 101, which is a major coast route, goes all the way up to Canada and down to the Mexican border. And at that time, it was a 2-lane curvy road. And coming back on my return trip, I drove from Ventura, which is like about 60 miles north of LA. I stopped to get diesel fuel and catch a couple hour nap. And when I woke up from the nap, some attendant woke me up. I was sleeping in the truck and got out and checked the truck, and I remember that very well. Checked tires and checked my load cables and all my lights and all that stuff. And I remember going out onto the highway in fog. I woke up in San Jose. That's 300 miles north. Did not remember anything. That truck was very complicated. Three gear shifts, you know, I mean, and they were, you know, there was a special fuel pump that you could do all kinds of damage with if you went off a hill on what we call compression. That is with your foot off the fuel feed. You had to brake and put fuel in through the pump at the same time, or it would score the disc. And we're talking doing damage, thousands of dollars of damage. I drove all the way from Ventura to San Jose. I woke up middle of the city of San Jose where 101 ran through. And I'll tell you one problem right now with video as opposed to podcast. I can see your impatience. My long story.
So,
anyway, I woke up. Okay, so
you woke up.
Point is, I made it very safely. All the way, without remembering anything about this. Now that's the power of the other than conscious parts of our mind. Nobody seems to understand it. A lot of people have a lot of theories. I don't claim to understand it. I just know it works. I know as we've been applying, the Hardy Boys is what I was thinking about primarily was something that happened to you. You and I are exercise freaks. I ran 10 miles this morning, for example. And, you know, what guy going on 90 runs 10 miles? Except you sent me a picture or something of somebody not too long ago. So, point is that we can do damage to these bodies, and you have done damage to the body, that body.
This one?
You.
Over and over again. Over and over again.
And since we published that book, since I wrote the book, we're finding all kinds of things that work with the integrated mind.
Yeah.
And when you put the other than conscious, you call yours one thing and I call mine another, but I have what I call an internal supervisor of my other than conscious, all the parts, whatever they are, and I don't care how you categorize them, but I call them, and it's him, I call him Megami. And he's instructed to be submitted 100% of the time to spirit, God, universe, whatever, so that I don't screw up. And in what my real purpose in life is, which is to be continually 24/7 guided by spirit. And consciously, I contend that's almost impossible to do because we're distracted in this milieu of the world or this planet or the physical arena or the third dimension, label it how you want. We're continually distracted. My other than conscious mind, Megami, is not distracted.
And
Focus.
always working on your behalf really hard.
And well. And, you get into so much of this self-help material out there beats up on the other than conscious mind. And I contend that what we really need to control and not and change and adapt is the conscious parts of our mind, that little 6 to 10%. And then to discover Einstein, and I read for years quotes of Einstein. The guy has always fascinated me. But all of a sudden I realized, because he said it comes out of his thoughts, the theory of relativity came out of the ether. He posed it. But in posting something or doing a workshop we just did, I'm just reviewing some of his quotes because I've come to a very serious belief that our other than conscious, I'm not going to use subconscious or unconscious or superconscious or what are some of the other terms, but our other than conscious parts of our mind is where the imagination resides. And it's, if we can learn to tap into that imagination and to go beyond what we are, and of course that's what Einstein contended, was he had to get into this other arena. For me, I call it a zone. I write from a zone. And whether anybody likes my writing or not, that's problematic.
It's personal taste, right? Let's just leave it as personal taste. So what did we do with all that? I'm going to just put it into the package. Well, we created You Without Limits workshops based on the concepts and principles that we've used to practice an integrated mind for ourselves. And we benefited from it physically, mentally, emotionally, using that process that we help people with in a You Without Limits workshop has taken us up to the next level. And I'm looking forward to one beyond that.
Yeah, and on and on and on.
And on and on and on.
In the most recent workshop we did, I went another notch. And just because the practicing of depending upon the imagination rather than our consciousness, and the conscious mind's great. It's aware of things, but it's being aware that really gets us messed up, So, excuse me, I've got to turn off the phone here. And you asked me to give an example a minute ago. One just came and then the little phone rang. I was really thinking about it. Now, it does come back if it's supposed to. Anyway, you were going on very well, and I got excited and wanted to interrupt you.
That's okay. Well, the whole point of my call is I think that people, they see the book, they maybe get our emails, they read your articles, but reading the book, reading the article, hearing our podcast, those are all good things. But if you don't take the next step, and that next step is to actually try some of the practices and principles and methods that we're recommending in the book and that we actually help people through in the workshop. And that's what I want to encourage people to do. I want to encourage them, hey, it's nice to have this mental knowledge, but that mental knowledge is just more conscious stuff. Until you actually do, your subconscious mind doesn't actually take the step and grab hold of it and put it to work. So doing is handing it off to your subconscious mind so you can truly gain the power of an integrated mind and work together in a loving relationship with your other than conscious parts. And why wouldn't you want to? Hey, click on the link, youwithoutlimits.life. Send us an email, contact us, sign up for a workshop. We'll send you an invite, and you'll get to use this format online. You don't have to travel anywhere. You don't have any expenses. Join us in the world of an integrated mind. You Without Limits.
Can I make one more point?
Go.
Can you very quickly tell the story about how you kept wrecking your knees or wrecking different parts of your body by exercising, and then you changed by putting...
Sure. So I've been running for 30 years, and I've had long breaks where I haven't run. And those long breaks are precipitated by either overdoing it or underdoing something or mismanaging my body in some way. But typically it would come from the same bad habit, and that is not listening to my body's warning signs, not listening to what's going on, and just following my conscious mind telling me some sort of positive affirmation to be able to work through it. And that would lead to injury and, of course, expense, because it's expensive to hire a physiotherapist to fix you once you broke it. Using an integrated mind, I've made contact with the other than conscious parts of me, which I'm going to call, for this instance, my body. And every time I exercise at this point in time, or not every time, let's say 90% of the time when I go to exercise or run, I run and I engage my body in the process. And I ask really simply, is this, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? Am I going too fast? Am I going too far? What can I do to get better? And when I ask that question, what can I do to get better and not injure myself? The information came to me. I found an article, stumbled across an article when I was looking for something totally different that taught me that my cadence was wrong. And I read the article and I went, well, that doesn't make any sense. What's cadence? Who cares? How irrelevant is that? As long as I just work hard and blah, 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 blah. And I got a little knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Pay attention to this. Body, should I be doing this? Other than conscious mind, should I be doing this? The answer I got was yes. Instantly, all knee pain vanished. I have not been injured since. I have pushed myself farther, faster than I've ever done before without any concern of injury. I just need to ask and get that little reminder. What's your cadence? What's your cadence? What's your cadence? Integrated mind. 22 kilometers the other day. Wednesday. 22 kilometers. I think in American that's 12 miles.
You Canadians.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, this is getting a little long. It could be too big for some people or too long. How about we call it a day and let's do another video cast very soon.
Say goodbye, Ryan.
Goodbye, Ryan.